What if the secret to lasting power, real unshakable power, is to stop trying to protect yourself? What if the people who put themselves last are the ones who end up first? It sounds backwards. It sounds naive. But Lao Tzu didn't write philosophy for comfort. He wrote it because they saw how the universe actually works, not how we wish it did. Chapter 7 is one of the shortest in the Tao Te Ching, and one of the most quietly devastating. The quote, Chapter 7, Heaven is eternal and earth is lasting. How can they be eternal and lasting? Because they do not live for themselves. That is how they can be eternal. Therefore the sage puts himself last and becomes the first, neglects himself and is preserved. Is it not because he is unselfish that he fulfills himself? What does this mean? Look up. The sky has been there longer than any empire, any dynasty, any great person who ever lived. The earth beneath your feet has outlasted every civilization that ever tried to conquer it. Why? Because neither of them is trying to survive. Heaven doesn't protect itself. Earth doesn't compete for resources. They simply are, vast, open, indifferent to their own continuation. And paradoxically, that indifference is exactly what makes them permanent. This is the central insight of Chapter 7. The drive to preserve yourself is often what destroys you. Think about the companies that were so obsessed with protecting their market share that they refused to innovate and were erased. Think about the relationships where one person clutched so tightly for control that they choked the love right out of it. Think about the leaders who spent so much energy building their personal brand that they lost the trust of the people they were supposed to serve. The desperate grip is what breaks things. Now think about the opposite. The mentor who gives freely, asks for nothing in return, and 30 years later their name is spoken with reverence by dozens of people they shaped. The manager who constantly puts the team first, deflects credit, takes the blame, and somehow ends up being the one everyone wants to follow. The friend who never keeps score and has the deepest, most lasting relationships in the room. Lao Tzu calls this the sage's secret. Put yourself last, not as a performance of humility. Not as a strategy, genuinely. Act without seeking recognition, serve without expecting return, and the universe, which operates on the same principle as the sky and the earth, will take care of the rest. Neglects himself and is preserved. This is not self-destruction. It is the deepest form of self-trust. A trust that says, I don't need to fight for my place. If I am genuinely useful, genuinely present, genuinely giving, I will not be forgotten. How to apply this? In leadership and work, stop building your personal brand at the expense of your team's visibility. When you give credit generously, when you make others look good, when you solve problems without needing your name attached, something strange happens. People want you around more, not less. Your influence grows precisely because you stopped hoarding it. In relationships, the person who always needs to win the argument, always needs to be right, always needs reassurance, exhausts everyone around them. The person who listens more than they speak, who asks, what do you need before what do I need, that person becomes indispensable. Not a doormat, a foundation. In business, building a product or service, stop asking, how do I get more customers, and start asking, how do I serve the people I already have better than anyone else? Companies built on genuine usefulness outlast companies built on clever marketing, every time. In personal growth, let go of the obsessive self-monitoring. The constant tracking of whether you're progressing, whether people respect you, whether you're getting what you deserve. That monitoring is exhausting, and it pulls you out of the present moment, the only place where real growth happens. Trust the process. Do the work. Stop checking the scoreboard. In your inner life, the ego is the loudest voice in your head. It catalogs every slight, measures every comparison, worries about every impression. Chapter 7 is an invitation to turn the volume down, not to eliminate the self, but to loosen your grip on it, to act from values, not from fear of how you'll be perceived. Heaven and earth have been here for billions of years, not because they fought to survive, but because they never made survival the point. The sage lives the same way, fully present, fully useful, not looking over their shoulder. And in a world where everyone is scrambling to be seen, to be first, to protect what they have, the person who quietly puts themselves last tends to be the one still standing when the scramble is over. Let go of the grip. The things worth keeping don't need to be held that tightly. If something in this chapter landed for you, if it pushed against something you've been holding too tight, then Lao Tzu did what they always do. Like this video if you believe that generosity is a long-term strategy, not a weakness. Subscribe to Humaniac. Every day we share wisdom that helps make life better. See you in Chapter 8.